Hey guys, hope you're doing well this week. This week we're going to be talking about Pfsense. And what Pfsense is a firewall. Well, to be more specific, an open source firewall. And why this is important is because, well, it makes it basically free. You know how we here at Cyberlytical like to do everything as cheap as possible while also having high quality and great security. And PFSense, excuse me, allows us to do that. So real quick, I'm just going to show you this page. PFSense is developed by Netgate. So they do have proprietary products that they do sell to you, or you can do the open source version and install it on an old computer, or if it's even possible to put it on old routers and even some newer routers. That is a bit beyond what we're going to be going over today. I won't be showing you how to install this or anything like that. I just want to go over the importance of having a dedicated firewall in your house. Okay, so why is it important that you have a firewall? Well, most of the routers that you get from the store come with some kind of built-in firewall. So they'll have it either they can configure it, or you won't even be able to touch it like your ISP. It's default, and you can do a few things like port forward if you want to torrent or watch Plex, anything like that. But it doesn't have any other configurations, and that can be super dangerous. So what happens is when you're connected to your Wi-Fi in your house, or you're plugged into a switch in the back, whatever it may be, all those devices are allowed to talk to each other. So your phone on your Wi-Fi and your laptop on your Wi-Fi are now able to talk to each other freely. Nothing's blocked. Someone can get backdoor access if they know how to do such things, and they can break into your whole internal network once they get into there. Once they're on one computer, they're basically on every computer. And a firewall can help us prevent that. So not only can it help us prevent people coming in from the outside, but if somehow someone gets internal access through a friend's phone or any guest coming over with a laptop with a virus or something like that on there, this will help it from spreading to every computer. And the way this is done is by rules. So it basically says, unless this device can't talk to this device unless it's over a specific port or it matches this set of rules. And yeah, so without going too much more into detail about that and getting too technical, the biggest reason that you'd want this now is Internet of Things. Internet of Things, so your Google or Amazon speakers, smart cameras, any smart device that you have in your house, your fridge, your toaster, those are usually shipped with old firmware or hard-coded credentials. And once those are broken into, especially your cameras, people can watch you on your own cameras remotely. So it gets kind of creepy, and it's not something that I would want to leave open to other people. I don't trust people, so I would rather know that my network is safe and, spend the extra few dollars here and there and time, because this firewall configuration definitely takes some time and patience. But I would rather go through that hassle and know that my security and my home is safe. But yeah, so without too much more, let's go ahead and jump into the appliances, what one you would need for your home or business, and then we will go over a little bit of how I've configured my firewall and how you should configure yours based on your needs. So first, we're going to start with the build it yourself. Like I said before, I would not suggest doing this. It's not for the faint of heart. If it's something that you're interested in doing and learning about, and you just want to learn how to build a firewall, this is the way to do it. I have done it. It's not in my production. I did it. Figured, I'd rather just buy a dedicated firewall, seeing as where I'm going with my home lab and everything like that. But it's really not that expensive, especially if you don't have, gigabit internet. You can go buy let's just go down here. So 10 to 20 megabits a second. I don't really feel like many people have this anymore. That's pretty slow. Again, I've had gigabit internet for a majority of my life, basically as long as it's been out. So, but if this is all your speeds are, you can get away with a really old just PC and it'll run just fine. Now, if you're going into the 101 to 500 megabits, I definitely suggest reading into the forums. As I never attempted to get any of these speeds, I simply just wanted to understand how it worked and how much fun it would be to set up a firewall. So yeah, if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in, I definitely say take a look, read forums, watch YouTube videos, understand how it works, and go from there. Now, if you're like me, you don't really have the time to build a whole new computer just for a firewall, and in all honesty, with these prices, it's probably in your best interest just to buy it, seeing as it comes for the most part configured. So I have the 4100, and that's simply because I need the extra ports and I need the extra speeds because I'm running servers, things like that. But any home user is just going to need this Netgate 1100 right here. So if we go into this one, basically these are going to be your big numbers. So this can route up to 927 megabits a second. There is a lot more technical explanation to this. Not going to go into it. Same with the firewall and the VPN. So yeah, but this is another cool part that I'm going to just say right now. Basically, this firewall, you can do limitless things with it. It runs off open source software, and you can install third-party apps. So let's say you just bought this little guy, and you all of a sudden want a VPN. And this could be a VPN that, you have Surfshark or NordVPN, something like that, and you want all of your traffic to be encrypted. So, you're private online. You can set that up so all your traffic now goes over the VPN by default. You don't have to turn on anymore what's inside your house. Or if you'd like, actually, you can do that. Sorry, I'm all over the place today. You can do that, or you can do a VPN connecting back to your house. So let's say you want certain documents, but you don't want to put it on the cloud or anything like that. You can connect to your VPN, connect back to your house and your server at home, computer at home, and do things there. You can run both of them at the same time. You can have multiple VPNs. Basically, this thing's limitless. You can install a open source IDS and IPS, so intrusion detection and intrusion prevention system. And those will alert you and prevent viruses and attacks and stuff like that from coming in. There's what's called an AJ proxy. So if you have a cloud server or any kind of server that is internet facing, meaning people from outside are allowed to connect to it, you can do what's called AJ proxy inside the firewall, and basically people connect to that, and then it filters the traffic, does what it needs to do, and then it sends the traffic to the actual server. So it's a barrier in between your server and the outside world, and it's an extra layer of protection. That's just what I love about open source. It's yes, even though I paid money for it, I'm paying $189 for two things. One, the hardware, and the basic install. And then and this is the second thing is, you get the 0 to ping service. So there is absolutely no customer service with anything that is, with any of these products, unless you buy their enterprise subscription, but that's not a problem, seeing as there's so many forums and videos with any issue you could even think of. But with that being said, when you buy a new firewall, you get what's called 0 to ping. And that allows you to give them a call when you get your thing, and they will help you set it up and get you online. They'll help you set up the ISP side and then your side to allow traffic to flow through. They won't help you with individual rules, but they will at least set up enough rules to allow you to connect to the internet. And if you can't do it yourself and having some issues for whatever reason, they do have a way to remote connect to you, and they'll guide you through all of it. I had a great experience with their customer service. I really do wish I remember the name of the two guys that helped me. They were great. I was on the phone with them for hours, and it ended up being a weird ISP problem. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and move on. So basically, all these other ones are going to be for people who are really into like tech and businesses and stuff like that, or if you absolutely have to have gigabits throughput speeds that are going through the firewall, like I do, then you're going to be looking at these higher end ones. But in the long run, this is actually going to be cheaper than running with a ISP modem router or a third-party consumer router. And the reason I say this is the ones that do allow you to actually configure it, it's limited. And like mine, and I'm still never going to forgive Netgear for this. Remember, Netgate is firewall, awesome. Netgear, horrible company. I'm sorry, I don't regret it. But not only could I not put my router into bridge mode, I could put it into modem only mode, but they charged me $100 a year just for the firewall that's already built in and on there. There's no protection unless you pay that $100 fee. And that's when I decided that, you know what? I know I need this extra protection, but at the same time, I don't want to pay $100 to a company that I already paid $400 for a modem for. So anyway, after my little rant, let's go ahead and move on to the actual firewall and see how it works and just show you how easy it is to get up and going. All right, so before we jump into the configuration of the firewall itself, I just wanted to go over a few basic diagrams with you. One of how a normal ISP or consumer grade router modem is set up, and then the other one of just loose have how my setup is, and then a more enterprise way. There won't be an actual diagram for that one, but I'll have a quick explanation for it. So here, normally this firewall and this router modem are all in one. So just try to visualize that. And they're connected to the internet. And then they also connect to each one of your devices in your house, whether through Wi-Fi or directly plugged in through a Ethernet cable. But the biggest problem with this is that this laptop can now talk to any other device here on the network, and same with this printer. And printers are just as bad as Internet of Things. They have really bad drivers and are known for weaknesses. So let's say someone in your friends or someone comes over, connects to your Wi-Fi, and they have malware. They connect to this printer, or they even have someone backdooring off of them. So they see this printer, so they're going to put malware on here, and they'll go and they'll infect all these other things, take over your entire infrastructure, and then you're left with nothing. Now, let's go to what this firewall will do for you. So now, not only are we blocking all the traffic in here, but we're also being able to fine tune things that we want to talk out to the internet and be able to talk into the internet. Most consumer grade routers will allow you to port forward and things like that, but port forwarding isn't necessarily the safest way to do things. And this will allow you to give you more granular control over that and protect yourself better if you want to have Plex or a Nextcloud or anything that needs to be facing out towards the internet. So this diagram is a little bit different, but this is internet, and then this is a modem or your modem router, depending on if you can put yours actually in bridge mode. But nonetheless, this is how mine is. So I get the modem. So I don't get the modem. From the modem, we go to the firewall. So basically all this is doing is converting the signal from the ISP into what we can, or what the router can understand. And then from here, we segregate it out to different networks. And the one that most people will buy, the $189, the 1100, that one is only going to have the one port that connects to your modem router and then one port that connects out to devices. And if you have a router that has Wi-Fi capabilities and allows you to put it in bridge mode, you won't need this access point right here. You'll be able to use this as your Wi-Fi and then filter all your traffic through the firewall and all that kind of thing. But the problem with that is if you only have one port, you will need a switch. And what this will do is connect to the firewall, and then it'll have more RJ45 ports. And then you can expand out from there, different devices, Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff. And that will be needed, especially if you have the 1100 right now, since I'm limited with, the holes I can drill in my walls and the cables that I can run, seeing as it's a townhouse. Where I live anyway, I can't really set up a big dedicated 48 port switch with, all the things that I want. So I bought the 6100 for future proofing, or not 6100, 4100 for future proofing and for the ability to segregate my network enough to make it secure while not having to create what are called VLANs and have a switch in my house. I do have this one unmanaged switch that just helps with the LAN and stuff like that, but that's another that's another video. So from here, all traffic coming in or going out gets filtered through this firewall, and then Wi-Fi clients connect to this access point, and these Wi-Fi clients cannot talk to any of the servers or any of the computers in my network unless I specify it. And this goes for anything. This computer or computers on LAN can't talk to the servers and servers vice versa. So what we do here is, now there is one caveat to this. Even though it's separated, anything that's on this Wi-Fi network or anything that's on the server network or LAN network, those can all still talk to each other. Just like, your router can right now. So would you want to get this? Well, you can create the rules in there that allow you to block that traffic. And I will actually show you that right now. This is what you'll be introduced with every single time you log into it. The first time, however, you'll get a nice setup wizard helping you to configure it. And if you still have issues, you can always give them their support team a call and they'll get you up and going. All right, so we're going to head over here to the rules real quick. And we are going to go over this LAN. All right, so right now all these are turned off except for this one. This is my sandbox LAN. Basically, I just test things here. All these rules are now outdated and have been changed. A lot of them have been created for this video just to show an example. So what we have here, by default, a firewall is going to, well, at least this firewall, some firewalls are different, will block all traffic. So the instant you put in this firewall, you will not have internet. It will block everything. The easiest way to get this all up and going is to make a rule saying allow any computer on this network to talk to anywhere. And you will be able to talk to all your other devices on any other network connected to your firewall. Sorry about that. I just knocked over my cup. Anywho, so if you do that, you've negated your security, things like that, but it allows you to get up and going. So what I like to do, since I don't have VLANs, and real quick, just to jump into VLANs, what that is let's say you have a whole network that allows you to have your full 254 hosts on it. But you don't need 254 hosts, and you don't want this set of servers to talk to this set of servers, and you have hundreds of servers. So you don't want to go into like my firewall and create individual rules allowing each server to talk to each other on each port. So what you do is you create VLANs, and any of those computers in that or servers in that VLAN are allowed to freely talk to each other however they wish, but they can't talk to another VLAN or other networks freely. They have specified rules, and vice versa. Everything can't just talk to them. And that's what helps big companies, keep their firewall rules from being, a million rules, because the more firewall rules you have, the slower your traffic will be, because it has to actually go through each one of these rules. So just ignore this top rule real quick. Firewalls work from top down. So when a packet comes through, it's going to check that it matches these rules. And if it doesn't match a rule, it goes down to the next until it finds one that it matches. If it doesn't match any rule, it gets dropped. So what I do for mine is this bottom rule right here. This allows all computers, all servers on this network to talk out to the internet freely, but cannot talk to each other. And then the one right above here, this allows it to get a DNS. There's a little technical thing of why you have to have this rule separate versus just being allowed to talk out to the internet. And that is because your Pfsense firewall acts as your DNS server. So now you no longer have to use Cloudflare or Google. Cloudflare would help you become private on the internet. Google will keep logs and stuff like that. But now if you do your Pfsense, it automatically blocks that kind of traffic and that logs. So it's a little bit more confidential on the internet. It's another great part about this firewall. But I digress. And then we just move up from here. So ICMP allow. So what this is, when I don't know if you've ever pinged, but you go into command prompt, ping google.com, ping 8.8.8.8. This is allowing me to ping wherever. It's simply for diagnostics. I don't ever suggest allowing this on your network, as if someone breaks into it, they're going to start pinging and scanning to see what other devices are on there. So only enable this for troubleshooting purposes, or if you don't have direct access to your servers and you need to be able to ping to see if they're still up and it's a different configuration issue and not a network. And then from here, we just kind of move up. So we have our source right here of 10.10.10.2. So that is a static IP that I've given to a laptop for this network, and it's allowed to talk to what I called quote unquote torrent box, and then over port 22, which is SSH. So this means that the computer can now SSH into that server for admin privileges and things like that, and work on the server. And this is for all these other servers. And then we have the cloud, then we have our just internal access. And now what this is allowing is certain computer servers to talk to other certain computers and servers. So when you are on, seeing as the Plex server is on a different network, we had to allow that traffic through. But we only want it one way. We don't need the server talking to our client. We only need our client to talk to the server. And we only need it on one port, 32.400. So we allow all computers on this network to talk to the Plex on this one port, and that's it. But the Plex can't talk back to us. And the reason for doing this is, seeing as it's a outward-facing appliance, if someone were to hack the Plex and it was allowed to talk to my computers, then they could, continue to hack everything else. I knocked over my water bottle again. So that's why we do it like that. And then, so you're giving permissions to only what's needed and no more. And this can take a while to configure, especially if you have a lot of devices. I have about 50 on my network, and it's really not too much. It did take me a couple days to get it perfect. And there is some fine tuning and tinkering that you got to do, but I promise you in the long run, it's worth it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just kind of give you another little brief overview of the firewall itself. I shouldn't say another because I never gave you one. Let's just go back to the dashboard here, and then let's go to statuses, and then let's go to traffic graph. So here we can look at the traffic over the different ports that we got. So we have, our WAN, which is our internet traffic, coming in and out. And then let's do our, servers interface here. We barely got any traffic. Oh, no, just kidding. Let's see. Oh, so people are trying to talk out to it. Yes. Okay, so it actually shows the IPs and things like that. Like I said before, you have VPN. So you have IPsec, layer 2 tunneling, and OpenVPN. Not going to go too much into these. OpenVPN is the one where I was saying where you can connect Surfshark or NordVPN and have all your devices behind the firewall be connected to that VPN, or you can even use that one to connect back to your house. IPsec, stuff like that. That's like having two different firewalls and creating a tunnel between the two firewalls for companies, stuff like that. Again, we don't need to get into a lot of that. I also said before, there's a DNS Resolver Forwarder, the HA proxy, which was blocking outside or filtering outside traffic and then sending it to your server, kind of that extra layer of protection. You have the IDS and IPS. I really can't show you too much without compromising my network, but I just kind of want to give you a quick feel of exactly what it's like to own one of these, and just to show you how easy, yet not easy, I guess, it is to have a firewall and how important it is. I'm sure I won't convince a whole lot of you to, take on something like this. A lot of you want plug and play when it comes to your technology, which is perfectly fine. But just do heed my warning of, if you have internet cameras, Google, things like that, they are easy to hack. And when I say they're easy to hack, I mean it happens daily, and it's something that I am even capable of doing within a few hours, given the right circumstances. Obviously, I'm not a wizard. I'm not a magical hacker or anything like that, but it is something that you can even look up on YouTube on how to do and pull pranks on people with it. So it's, yeah, I'm going to stop my rant there. I hope you all have enjoyed this video today. Please let me know if there's any more that you'd like me to go over or how to set it up, things like that, and any video suggestions you might have. All right, guys. Well, I will see you next couple weeks. All right. Bye.